Hello, welcome. This is lesson 8 of the Excel course, and this time around we're going to look at settings in Excel. Very important also. In the beginners level, we are just trying to familiarize ourselves with the interface, and we should have the ability to navigate and be able to perform basic operations. Now let's look at some settings that we can do. Excel, like any other programming or like any other gadget, when you buy a new gadget, in most time they come with default settings that you may need to, this default setting you may need to change in order to actually fit into what you want to do. So also in Excel, so when you install your Excel, make sure you do some settings. You don't just leave it in the default setting so that it can perform optimally. And the first that we can do is that we want to go to save. Let's look at some of the settings that we can do. Now for you to access some of these settings, just come to the File tab and then go to More. Under More, come to Options, and then this dialog box will of course pop up for you. Now the shortcut, if you want to use that, you press your Alt key, Alt FT, and then this dialog box will pop up for you. That's the shortcut key, Alt FT. Now let's take a look at the first one, that is Save. Now let's come to Save. Now when you are working Excel, especially if you stay in an area, especially in Nigeria where we have epileptic power supply and you are using a desktop, and now the default setting here is that every time you are working Excel will only save every 10 minutes. That's the first setting. As you can see, 10 minutes. So you can lose a lot of work within that 10 minutes if power goes up. So what you can do is that you can actually reduce this time and change it to like every 4 minutes. Now if you want Excel to save every 4 minutes, your Excel can become slower, especially when you are handling large numbers of data. So take note of that, but 4 minutes is actually very okay. Or depending on the work that you do, you can set it. So you can set it for as many. That's number one. So that's that about save. You want to look at others that we have here and take a look at them if you want to do some settings here. But let's move on to the next one. The next one, I want to go to General. Now under General, you have all of these settings that we can do. Now when you are creating, some of the one I want to point out to is that when you are creating a new document, for example, if you just open a new Excel workbook, this is the default setting. Now you can see the default font. You can see it. You can always change it here. Now you can see the font size. You can see the normal view, the page break, the page layout, which we have talked about, but we leave it in normal. Now in this, I have include many sheet as one. Now for example, in some Excel, for example, let me close it. Let me show you what this does. Now if you increase this, yes, I increase it to 5. Now anytime you open an Excel workbook, you automatically have 5 as the number of worksheet that is contained. For example, if I click on OK and I come here and I come here and I open a new workbook, you see that automatically I have 5 sheets there. So if I don't need up to 5, I'll start beginning to delete. I'll begin to delete. So this is where the settings come from. You can actually change that. So for me, I don't want to save it. I'll press on the Alt FT to actually access this, and then I want to return to 1. So anytime I open a brand new Excel workbook, I only have one worksheet coming along with it. Another thing that you can talk about is that if you come here, your office, your Microsoft Word office, the other time we talk about the theme, you can change the theme. You see the name of the user here. You can do all of the settings. If you, for example, you have the tag and all of the themes that we can select from, but the colorful is actually the default setting. So you can again explore all of that you may need to do, but those are the ones I want to talk about for now. Then here we can go to Advanced. So when we come to Advanced, now the very first one I want to talk about is this. Now after pressing enter, move selection down. Now in most time, let me show you what this does. Let me cancel. Now in most time when for example, let me delete this. Most time when I want to get this, let's say equals to this multiplied by this. Now Once I press on enter, you see that the Excel goes to the next cell. From this cell, it comes to this next cell. Now, if you want to change that, if you want to perform this calculation now, you have to go back and drag. But if you actually want to change that, you can change that. How do I do that? Let's go back to the setting, Alt FT. Now, from here to advance, from here you can see after pressing enter, move selection down. The default setting is down. You can change it to right, up, or left. But if you don't actually want it to move down, just uncheck this. So anytime you press on enter, Excel will stay on the same cell without moving down. So you can just take a look at it if you have it. So all other settings, you can take a look at them one after the other. Then also we can look at cut, copy, and paste here. All these options are there for us. We can explore as the case may be. You can also move down the print. You can see all this stuff that we have talked about, chart, all of the display. As you can see, another very important that we can talk about here, you see everything that has to do with the display. Excel can show up to 50 workbook that you recently opened. How do I mean? For example, if you, I have to close this. If you want to open, you see my recent open Excel workbook. There are so many. So you can decide if you want to do those ones that you don't pin. If you want to see as many as you want to see, you can decide with Excel. Now I will want to go back to Alt FT where we are having our settings. So you can have all of that. We are in advanced, and then copy and paste and all of this. So we can have number of sheets. Now the ruler, we have it as centimeter by default, but you can change it to inches, you can change it to millimeter as the case may be, but I will leave it in centimeter. You can check show functional screen tip, show the formula bar, and all of that. So all of these we have actually talked about in the previous slide. So you can take a look at all these settings and see the one that you actually want to change to actually suit the kind of work that you do. Now the next one I want to talk about is proving. So let's go to proving. Now in proving, you see that next time you want to talk about, let's talk about autocorrect options. Now these autocorrect options, we have some predefined words. For example, if you have this, you have as many as possible. So if the good thing that you too can add yours as the case may be. So let's say I want to say, for example, every time I type TDW, or let me even put it in lowercase TDW, I want Excel to replace it with the digital workspace. I want Excel to replace it with the digital workspace. If I click on add, and then you see that it has been added. So anytime I typed TDW, Excel will automatically replace that with the digital workspace. Let's click on OK. Let's click on OK. So if I type TDW and I move on, you have automatically Excel will replace it. So that is where this setting is actually coming from. Now we are in proofing. So you can actually do all of that. Also, autocorrect for uppercase, you can check it so that when you are writing and there's spelling error, Excel can quickly flag it, even if it is in uppercase and all of that. So those are other things that we can do. Basically, those are other things. You can take a look at all of that in formula. We have it. Check those things that you may want to that you may want to change, those things that you may want to include. In data, you have all of the settings, so many that you can work with. Language is there, accessibility, customize ribbon, which we have actually talked about. You can customize ribbon, add a lot of elements to the quick access toolbar and your ribbon. Then this is the quick access toolbar. You can see the number of elements that I have in the quick access toolbar. If I want to add more, I can simply select from all of this section and add it to the quick access toolbar. Then we have the add-on, and then we have security test center that has to do with the security and all of that. Thank you so much. That's all I want to cover in this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson.